Now you can set some action steps to your chunks. So you can pick one or two of your chunks and say, okay, now how am I going to get that chunk completed? Okay.
Well, we were going through, Dawn had talked about briefly when we just ended about, we were working on one of the projects I have. And they asked one of the obstacles or the stepping stones that I need to achieve in the next moving forward in the next 3 months is really getting our team all on the same level. And I was mentioning that we had one, actually the lead of this whole thing is the boss, and she's still learning the subject matter. I was brought in as a subject matter expert. And then the third person that was brought in recently as a contractor is extremely knowledgeable in the field, but very, as I use the term, diamond in the rough as far as training is concerned. Not very good at writing, not very good at design or understanding some of the presentation stuff, but has great ideas. So trying to get them to feel comfortable with people criticizing their work and being and I say criticizing. I mean, as I was telling Douglas and Dawn, I've been around long enough. I know you don't just tell that sucks. I'm very creative with presentation as far as letting them know that hey, remember, it's us, it's not you. This is we as a team, and we're presenting this to higher level presidents and vice presidents, and if we're going to put this out there, it needs to be polished. You don't have 50 words to a president. Sure. If 20 will do. So that was kind of the thing. So that was part of the deal in the overcoming that is get the team together.
So the next step for us is to think about planning for the barriers, as well as when we can or when we should readjust.
One of the big problems that I find when we have conversations about performance planning and personal development and stuff is, like I said before, as soon as the rubber hits the road, we encounter difficulties. I think it was Sun Tzu said that all the best plans fail at first contact with the enemy, something along those lines. Mm-hmm. And so we need to build that and accommodate that in. So one of the things that I'm preparing and writing is built around sort of like the principles of big, hairy, audacious goals, but is a model that's simply A, B, C, D, E. A is aspiration. So what do I aspire for? And what I find interesting is people can quite clearly tell me what they don't want, but they find it a lot more difficult to highlight what they do want. So brilliant one from Maureen in the group that we were talking in was clutter-free in 23. I love that phrase.
Oh, phrase. Love that.
Love that phrase. So that's a brilliant aspiration. Okay, clutter-free in 23. Now that works brilliantly because one, it's a challenge to get to. Secondly, it's time bound. It tells us specifically when it's going to end by. So it's a lovely aspiration. I love that phrase. Secondly, so what's B stand for? Well, B stands for building blocks. So the building blocks are the things that will take me closer towards that aspiration. So what are the things that I need to do to take me towards that aspiration? One thing might be I need to learn how to get rid of the stains in my toilet pan, for example. So I need to learn, well, what, is it a chemical or as I use vinegar? I don't know. I don't know how you do that. So I'll go and learn how I need to, the building block that will take me towards it. C is challenges. So what are the challenges? What are the things that are stopping me being clutter-free? So what I then do is I work out, okay, so what are the things that might prevent me from doing it? You'll notice that I'm not prioritizing anything here. All I'm doing is listing all the building blocks and all the challenges. So that's A, B, C. D is decision. So what we do is we decide in what order am I going to do things. So a challenge might be my toilet stinks, can't touch it, or the building block is I need to learn how to clean it. So actually, what do I need to do first? Well, I need to overcome the smell. So I'll get a mask. There we go. That overcomes the challenge. B, then I know how I need to clean it with. So D is making the decision, what are the things I need to do to take me towards it. But the E, and this is the most important part, is the environmental check. So at the point when I do the first step, is it still the next thing on the list, the next thing I need to do? So you'll have an aspiration, and then below that, you will have 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 building blocks and challenges all mixed up together. I do the first one, number 1. Is number 2 still the right one, or is there something else I need to do before it? Is number 2, I complete that one. Is number 3 the right one, or do I need to do number 4 next, etc.? And what you do is you build those things and you complete all of those tasks. You do the building blocks, you overcome the challenges, and all the time you're constantly referring back to your aspiration. Am I still clutter-free in 23?
Mm-hmm.
And you're addressing each of those things individually. So it's really important to go back and check and check and check and build a checking mechanism in. What we tend to do in the workplace is quarterly reviews. Let's review how someone's doing. And what we do is we talk about the work you did in the last 2-3 weeks and what you're going to do in the next 2-3 weeks, because nobody can remember what happened 3 months ago. And no one's going to pick this up in 3 months' time either. You're laughing, Eric. You know this. This happens.
Mm-hmm.
We have these conversations in the workplace, but nothing changes. So by building it this way, you will have a series of tasks and things, and you can constantly review and add those things, other activity into it. E is environment check, Stacey. Yeah, environmental check.
If that BHAG is important to you, you may even have several BHAGs, right? You might have a personal one, you might have a professional one, you might have something else. And what I like to do myself is as I'm going through this check of maybe what I'm doing this week, not necessarily what I'm doing today, but maybe what I'm doing this week or what I'm planning on doing this month, is there something embedded in what I'm doing that's going to ensure that this BHAG is moving towards success? You know, if I say that my BHAG is to continue to build this community, is what I am doing, is the highest priority thing that I'm doing helping me achieve that action? Is it helping me achieve that chunk? Right.
So
And
what I'd be doing, Shannon, is I'd be challenging you, and I'd be saying, okay, so where's specificity in your
in that.
BHAG?
Mhm.
So how big does your community need to be? So we've got 12, 15 people here. I don't know how many it is, something like that. Is your target to have 25 people, 30 people, for example, on a
Mhm.
session by, July? Because then it becomes focused rather than
Right.
ephemeral.
Right. Yes, and I completely agree with that, and I absolutely have those goals written out, as far as what I'm hoping to achieve in people and money and such like that. I think the other key goes back to motivation, right? And reassessing is, did I find myself, and I've said this before, is that your goals are driven by a GPS. And sometimes it's okay to go off the standard path and look at the historical marker, but you have to come back. And so at some point when you reassess, have you gone back to the trail? So that way you can get to where you're supposed to be. So on that note, thank you everybody for joining us today. Good luck with your BHAGs. We'll do some check-ins, to see how you guys are doing. Make sure everybody's on track. If you've reevaluated, if you followed your alphabet, right? And good luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you again in 2